70% of the people who choose a metal roof are unhappy. Why? They don't know what they're looking for. They don't even understand what goes into a metal roof. And there's about 15 things you need to check out, or you're going to become a victim too. I want to share with you what happened to a local church who trusted the people they bought a building from that it had a quality metal roof and paid more for that shed because it had a lifetime roof on it. Yet we're here replacing it in 5 years.
Like most people, we've been conditioned to think that metal roofs will last your whole life, or in this case, many years beyond those of us serving right now. You know, the roof would be there, it looks nice, it's, you know, it's pretty, it matches the surroundings, the colors on the church. He found a barn manufacturer in northern Michigan that had a pretty good deal on a barn, and they would deliver it.
This little barn is an example why 70% of the people who choose a metal roof are very dissatisfied.
You see the rock that's coming in?
We have a member that does our lawn and snow removal. He started to notice some water on the equipment.
Inside the shed, the roofing material was getting black mold on it, black and white mold. I could tell that it was rotting. The floor was starting to get wet all the time, and I knew it wasn't going to be a building that lasted. I called the salesman or the owner of the business, and he said he'd be right down and work on it. And I think I made contact with him at least 7 or 8 times, and he just kept blowing me off.
It's important for you to understand that these contractors will ghost you after they've taken advantage of you. It happens all the time. I hear it. People call, they say this, "Do you folks fix metal roofs? I got this guy and I trusted this guy and we got problems." We hear it all the time. When I went inside and seen the mess, the rot of the OSB, looking and seeing directly outside, I knew that there was a problem with this shed. I can't wait for the transformation for you to see what we're going to do with this shed, going from a con man to a real metal roof.
So this is the piece of decking that we took off from the upper level. And interesting, we just found out that this was put on in 2018, so this roof is just over 5 years old. And you can see at the edge here, if I hold this up, you can see how wet it was, and you can see literally the amount of damage that was done. So fortunately we caught it just in time. We replaced this 16 inches along the edge, and we're going to put a premium permanent roof on it.
You have that water coming down, and the screw is already kind of pulled out, and there's no retention on it. I didn't even...
You just yanked it right out.
Yeah. All because this edge is getting saturated, and there's nothing left for these screws to hold into.
We've taken one of the washers that was sealing the screws. Looking at the washer, you can see around the edge, it's actually dry rot, just like your tires get if they sit outside for too long, especially exposed to sun. So this washer, whether it was leaking now or not, I don't know for sure, but I can tell you in probably a fairly short time would have been. If you see, as we try to bend it, it just cracks. So this is why you only want this maybe on your pig barns, because you certainly don't want it on your residential structures. This is a hidden fastener system, not an exposed fastener. One of the challenges with an exposed fastener like they had is that it relies on the gasket that seals around the actual penetration. And what can happen with that over time, with the thermal expansion, be it winter, summer, some of these roofs get in excess of 170 degrees. So that washer now is dependent on keeping the water out. But with thermal expansion, not only of the screw itself, with the washer, with the panel below it, and even the wood at times, that in time will leak. That's a guarantee. With this system, there's nothing exposed. It's not reliant on sealant. It's not relying on anything other than just the fact that the panel itself is waterproof. It's watertight. It relies on a shed system, so the water sheds off the roof. That will last forever. So one of the ironies here today is that we're putting a premium ice and water shield. That ice and water shield is a better roof than what was on here before, just in itself. Underlayment is a requirement, and it's a requirement because all roofs sweat or condensate. Whether it's an asphalt roof, a metal roof, a slate roof, doesn't matter, they all condensate. That condensation has to be addressed. If it's not addressed, you end up with that roof holding water. So the requirement of all the manufacturers is to use an underlayment. That's what keeps the substrate or the OSB or the plywood intact. One of the challenges we always run into is that because of the lack of knowledge out there and lack of experience that most of the installers have, they recognize the metal costs more, so they see it as an opportunity to make more money. The challenge is they don't get the training, they don't have the knowledge. The perception of a metal roof is that it is a better roof, and done properly, that's an accurate statement. But in this case, it wasn't done properly, and normally isn't done properly. It takes a lot of skill. It's not a roof that everybody can put on, and in this case, they used the cheapest roof available and then didn't install it properly. The cheap metal roof or the cheap roof, doing it less expensively, it never works. It does not work in this industry at all. Don't ever expect that it will.
How do we like the new roof? Well, I'll tell you what, everybody likes it, they love it. I got out of my truck to come to church the first Sunday after it was done, and I got question after question about it. So it's very popular, it looks nice, and I'll bet you it's gonna outlast the shed.
The shed looks great now. I mean, you can tell the quality right from the street.
The old one was barn metal, and you know, it looked like a barn. This one looks more like a residential metal roof. It looks like shingles, obviously made out of metal. I like the color match a lot better. It matches the surrounding church and the grounds much better than the old one. We've had several rainstorms since the roof was done.
I opened up the shed today, and this is the first time in months that there wasn't no water to be found anywhere in the shed. There wasn't one drop anyplace.
With any congregation, there's always an issue about cost.
They are maybe a little more expensive, but my son works in the insurance industry. They call this a 100-year roof. We
contacted Frank at American Metal Roofs, and Frank was very good about working out a very fair deal with us, and he explained why the roof would be much better. And when that was brought to the rest of the congregation, I think the feeling was very positive. They bought the shed as a package, and it came with a barn-style metal roof on it, obviously done by people who don't know how to do metal roofs. Get someone who really knows what they're doing. Get someone who has a lot of experience, a track record. Have them show you examples of their work. All things that American Metal Roofs and Frank Farmer can do. Therefore, my advice going forward is always going to be, hey, call Frank.